trying to get started, I just want to first of all welcome everyone and thank you all for joining us today. It's a beautiful Thursday. We're heading into fall potentially. I know that we are in the state of Florida, Sherry and I both are, and there is a little fall in the air, and that's always a little symbol of hope, I think, to a lot of us. But so I'll start off. I'll let Sherry introduce herself, and I really want to thank Florida Senior Living Association for working with us and partnering with us in what we're doing now as we're going into doing some of these webinars and being able to offer CEU credits, and then also getting more eyeballs on some of these webinars so that, you know, all of these educational webinars hopefully are just more tools and what I call tools in your toolbox to kind of help you out in what you do in your jobs and how you can grow your business and in whatever aspect that you need that help in per se. So I'll go ahead and let you start off, Sherry.
Thank you, Darlene. Well, I'm Sherry Legene, and I'm Director of Education at Florida Senior Living Association. We're excited to be here. Thank you for inviting us to do this, just sharing some educational webinars and expand our reach and help expand the great content to our members and others beyond that. We're also excited to share, be able to get CEUs for our Florida nurses and Florida nursing home administrators. So thank
Absolutely.
You
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Once again, I'm Darlene. I'm the National Digital Sales Director with SeniorLivingGuide.com. Just a little housekeeping notes. As most of you can tell, this is a webinar. We typically have a couple hundred people that join us on these webinars, so we're not able to have everybody's beautiful little faces and then everybody able to talk. But please feel free to put your questions in the question and answer portion of the webinar. We will be answering every single one of those at the very end, but please feel free to pop those in there as soon as they pop into your mind, because as I mentioned, I don't know if you're like me, but if I think I'm going to just do that at the very end, I will have forgotten my question. So please feel free to go ahead and do that. And I know that some of you have asked, and I get emails every single time, is this being recorded? Can I have access to this after? And the answer is yes. We do share these out to everyone that is registered in a link that you can share with your coworkers or whoever you would like to share it with as well. And then also we have a link on our website under Senior Living Guide Industry, the professional link, and it's under educational webinar series. And then all of our webinars are listed under there. So if you like this webinar, there's probably other webinars that you might find interesting as well. So you can comb through those topics and see if there's something that's a good fit for you or someone that you work with. So a little bit about what we do and why we found this topic something that we thought you might enjoy or something that you would find imperative or pertinent to senior living. We know that SeniorLivingGuide.com in 2019, how we did business and what we did is completely different in 2020 and even in 2021. And it's because we found new ways to open new doors, right? SeniorLivingGuide.com, when I came on board, my background is digital. I don't know if any of you guys had any opportunity to read a little bit about my background, but I was involved in digital, and I did digital in all kinds of categories. I worked with personal injury attorneys, car dealerships, all kinds of different things. So I had a wide range of different areas that I worked with, and senior living, in all honesty, was a little bit new for me. But in senior living in 2019, our products were, we had books, statewide publications in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And we had a great national reach website. And then we also had have hospital directories in multiple states as well, which we still have all of these products, but we're doing them better. And we added to some of those things because when COVID hit in 2020, we were hit with some decisions that we had to make, because what we do is we provide our clients with leads to, we provide our clients leads for people looking at senior housing, right? Well, during COVID, not such a hot thing. People were really concerned about moving their loved ones into senior housing communities. which was clearly a concern. And then also seniors are slightly disconnected because they are staying at home. There's a fear, especially at the very onset of COVID before we really knew what was going on. So we had to really think on a dime. What do we need to do as SeniorLivingGuide.com that's had a business model that's been very specific for some time? How can we still be a good provider in connecting with our clients in the senior living industry, and then also still stay relevant to seniors and caregivers? So we really thought, so that's the launch of the webinars, which we've been doing for a year now, actually. We just hit that 1-year mark doing our webinars. So we were still staying relevant and connecting with the industry itself. We also launched a brand new website that has so many more options and opportunities for our online audience that is looking for senior housing to connect directly with senior communities and home health care. And we've really seen a huge increase in contact form fills and interest, more than we ever have before. So it's clearly, we've seen just a huge uptick, and I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit further down in this presentation. But we also wanted to stay connected with seniors. And one thing that we saw is that seniors like to listen to podcasts. So we added a podcast station called SeniorLivingGuide.com podcasts. We've just entered our 2nd season, and we have, I just looked today, over 4,200 downloads, because we are available anywhere you would listen to music or podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere like that. I am the host of that as well, along with being the National Digital Sales Director. So there is a lot going on. So as you can see, Old Ways in 2019 didn't open new doors because we had to make that work for us. So we made a lot of changes. So we started thinking senior living, senior housing, the senior industry in general was thrown a big curveball with COVID. And that really hasn't changed a lot, because COVID is kind of, I don't want to say it's here to stay, but it might be. And I think it's going to be here for a while. So we'll talk a little bit about this. So I've kind of given my answer away already. So you kind of had a sneak peek to it. So there is a new competitor in 2021 in senior living, and are you ready? And I'll expand a little bit on it, because I know that I kind of mentioned that it's COVID, but it's really not just COVID. It really is the fear. And you guys are in senior living, and you've experienced the fact that fear has always been there in senior living when you're dealing with your seniors and their families. And the reality is, part of this comes from my personal experience, not just working in this industry, but as a daughter who had to make hard decisions for her own family. The fear that I had for my father, and the fear that I saw in him having to try and make decisions for senior living. And the reality is it's a very scary time for them. They realize that their lives are not going to be the same. They're having to make decisions about giving up their homes that they may have lived in their whole lives, paring down on things that they've had, even as far as, memory boxes, tchotchkes, different things are going to have to leave their lives. And it's hard for these loved ones, and it might be their first rodeo. It was my first time going through this experience with my father. But then COVID hits, and then you add an entirely different level of fear. And with COVID, it's not just fear of the disease, but it's the fear of the separation. It's multiple layers of fear. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and how this is going to be positive, though. I don't want everyone to think this is like this big scary presentation, because there really is so many positive aspects to this presentation. So I want you to kind of realize that as we're walking through this. So the fear that most people are facing, on top of just the regular fears that seniors and their caregivers and their families are really navigating through, that you've been dealing with, it's just significantly more. And this presentation I actually created after the first kind of wave, and we thought we were kind of coming out of it, and it was good times. We thought people are going to be able to see their families again. We're opening up again, but then we got too comfortable. Things changed, right? Now we're dealing with variants, which I don't even know, were we prepared for variants? Did we know that this was going to be a thing? I don't even know anymore. It just seems like it just gets messy, right? So the fear is there going to be another outbreak of COVID? Is there going to be different variations of it? Is there going to be new regulations? And is it happening again? So people that have their loved ones, they really do have to consider all of these different things. And are they going to be limited to access to their loved ones? I honestly think that this is probably one of the bigger issues that most people are facing. Because at the very beginning of that pandemic, all of the pictures of people not being able to see their loved ones through the glass, all these different things, it's very scary for families to really consider. And then also, the cleanliness, the proper protocols, all these different things that, as you all know, are probably big questions that you guys are consistently getting within your communities. And then what I consider almost the new pandemic, are you having staffing issues? This is not a big secret. That most categories, most businesses are having staffing issues. So this is something that your team is probably addressing on a daily basis. Do you have enough people to take care of my loved ones? And then clearly the unknown. Right now, we have so many unknowns that we're facing on a daily basis regarding COVID, regarding all these different things that's surrounding this specific type of pandemic that we really need to address. So there is good news. Like I said, we're not going to stick on a negative, because there is good news in senior living, and there's a couple different levels of different types of good news we're going to talk about. The first one is the pent-up demand in 2021. So I do want to share a little bit with you. People weren't moving their loved ones in. They were choosing to keep them at home, kind of, deal with it within their own house. If they had, someone that was potentially in cognitive decline, or they had someone that needed more personal care than they were actually able to give them, that they were at home, they weren't working, they were kind of plowing through it. But now they really need the services that you provide. There is pent-up demand. So I think that we're going to see more and more and more of your heads and beds per se, and even home health care. I think more and more of you guys are going to be needed, and clearly that's always good news to within your business. And I did see an article on Senior Housing News that traffic was up in over 2019 levels. And that was in the majority of the big and large senior living providers. So that's just not just me saying it, but it is just what we've seen within the industry as well. And I did want to mention that one of the things that we did do a webinar, how to lead without feeling burnt out. We did that a while ago. I think that we did that probably in the spring, and it is on our educational webinar series page. We had about 600 people on that webinar, and we've had about 600 video views of it. It did really well. So I know that as we talk about this a little bit and how hard it is to kind of emotionally connect with people during this time frame, that might be something that you guys might want to take a look at, because there is a lot to offer within that webinar, because it is a difficult time for your staff and your folks to kind of work through a lot of the things that they have to go through when they're working with residents and their families. As I caveat into that, you have to really work with them to overcome fear by looking at things differently and connecting with them emotionally. And as I mentioned, it's difficult to do some of these things because you're doing this full time. You're working with these people, you're hearing the story over and over and over again, and you do become numb to it to an extent, and you do have this feeling of being burnt out. And for these people that are coming into your communities, this might be their first rodeo. This is hard for them. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand dementia. They don't understand why mom is declining. They don't understand what to do. They don't understand the process. Senior living is very, very difficult. I went through it with my dad, and I thought I knew the industry. I did not. I did not. It was like navigating through mud. And to be able to connect with someone at a community was the game changer for me. And I know it's a game changer for a lot of people, especially when I talk to them, that really is the difference with a lot of them on what their decision is when moving into a community. And we're going to talk a little bit more on how you can do that, not just in a face-to-face, but how you can do that in a couple of different ways. How can you overcome their fear? Promoting a stress-free, healthy environment. I think that that's really important. Connecting and listening to them as they share their experiences of the last year and a half. It really is digging deep and listening to their story, because for them, it's their story. It's heartfelt. It's really hard for them. And then promote an experience in senior living that not only offers the amenities, but getting back to life, more normalcy, and enjoying life. There is joy in senior housing. I think the reality is that everyone, all of the competitors offer something, whether it be an amenity or something of that nature. But if you can offer that amenity and then the joy that's in senior housing, you can sell it all day long. It's the difference in, it's the game changer right there. And there has to be joy in senior housing. And so it is moving past the pandemic, moving past all of that ugly, and just continuing in a very positive light. So we're going to talk about how you can do that. We're going to talk a little bit about social media. Social media images may help reduce the fear that allow families and seniors to consider your communities before they ever walk in your door. This picture I picked from a post that was posted by Vitality Living. It just made me happy when I saw it. And I'm going to tell a story a little bit about my father. My father was in cognitive decline. I had to make a decision about moving him into a community. He fought me tooth and nail. And to be honest with you, it was the hardest decision I have ever had to make. And I hated doing it. But the community that I actually moved him into had a fabulous social media presence. And while I went to see my dad every day, because I cannot explain to you how horrible it was for me to do that to my father, even though I knew it was the best thing for him, and it was at the end of the day. But they did post every day, at least once a day, community life. And I would see him dancing or doing some kind of project or having some kind of interaction on social media. And the fear, the stress, the anxiety would literally leave my body because I knew he was okay. And if you can provide that to your families, I can't even tell you how important that is. And then even your future potential residents, when they're seeing those images, they're seeing that the life that's happening inside your communities, the community life, the joy, it really can make a difference between someone deciding to go to your community for a virtual tour and finding out more information versus someone else's. So a little bit about knowing your numbers, and we'll go over this quickly. Social media among baby boomers. So a little bit about YouTube. So YouTube, 70%. I go to my in-laws' house and I will tell you, they watch Roku, YouTube every single time I'm there. I don't even know what they're watching, but that is all that they watch. So they're definitely on there. I have no idea what they watch, but they're definitely on there. And Facebook is 68%. So Facebook, much to Mark Zuckerman's dismay, he's lost the young kids. It is all baby boomers. It's the baby boomers kids. It's folks like me. That's who's on there. The kids are on Snapchat. They're on TikTok. They're on all kinds of different other platforms. But this is a great place for you to have a very strong, prominent presence. I'm just going to share Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Those are just the percentages. I have a really good, I can do Instagram extremely well. We're not going to cover Instagram, but if anybody would like more information on Instagram, it is very difficult. Their algorithm is very complex. I will be happy to have a side conversation with you. You're welcome to call me, and I can share some more information on Instagram with you. So I am going to do this. I'm going to share this quote with you. Everywhere you turn, people are conversing in completely new ways. They are interacting on social networks. They are sharing video, photos, news, and ideas with the touch of a button. They're forming opinions, making buying decisions, talking about you. So the question I have is, when they're seeing all this, what are they saying? The secret is in the sauce. Do you have a social media strategy? I always look at this, and we'll cover this quickly because a lot of you, this is probably not your job position. This might not be something that you have any control over, but I think it's always, knowledge is power. And I always think of fried green tomatoes when I hear that little saying. But if you are doing any type of social media, even if it's one or all of these, to have some form of a calendar, first of all, the rule is 80-20. It is 80 sharing and then 20 selling. So if you're doing more selling on your social media platforms, Facebook doesn't like that. You're not going to get the engagement, and it's not going to be very helpful. So we'll talk about what some of the 80-20 looks like. I'm going to go back over this image really quick and connecting. I'm going to talk about the word authentic, having authentic images and connecting, utilizing just a very quick cropping of an image can make the biggest difference in the world, and it doesn't take that long. So this is the actual first image that was on the first post that I pulled it off of, and then I reshared it with a crop, and I tagged them when I shared on our social media. You can connect, you can look at this, and you can see the big difference in how you might connect with this person. But this lady's face is it just made me happy. That's why I shared this. It just made me happy. I'm sure it made her family happy, and whoever's looking at this social media page for this senior living community, it made them happy. So we're going to go over some things on the Book of Faces. This is kind of the fun meat of it. So utilizing the sale aspect of it, although it's still connecting in a fun way. We're going to talk a little bit about images and video. Video is huge, and you don't have to be a professional to do it. You all have a cell phone. You all have a cell phone. Use your cell phone. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So doing testimonials with residents and residents' family, it doesn't have to be a big fancy schmancy video. Doing a quick video with a resident that just might enjoy the morning walk outside. That's a testimonial. It can be 15 to 30 seconds. I wouldn't do much more than 30 seconds. People, ADD is rampant. Nobody is really watching much more than 30 seconds typically, unless it's really super interesting, and which you can definitely do, but I would keep it short and sweet, just something that's fun. That's a testimonial from a resident or a resident with their family, something that they like about the community. Find out what that is. A short snackable tour. You want them to schedule a tour. That's what you want them to do. You want them to schedule a tour, look at a Zoom tour. Don't give them the whole enchilada. That's what we call it, a snackable. So start a tour without giving them the tour of the entire community or facility or whatever the case may be. Give them something where they're going to want more. So sharing a short snackable tour, engaging community activity videos, those are great. Special move-in offers that click over to the website for them to get more information. And one thing I wanted to mention, two things actually, that I failed to mention in the very beginning. The pictures that I've shown are authentic pictures. And that's because I think it's really important to really steer away from those images that you see everywhere that are stock photos. I know that when I first came on board in senior living back I actually just hit 4 years, pre-COVID. I'm seeing a little bit more now. I think people are doing a little bit better, but I saw so many stock images, and some of them I could pick them out of a lineup that's the senior model, right? Because you've all seen them, and I've seen them on tons of different websites. People know what a stock photo looks like, and it's not going to do a lot for you. And then also I want to mention on the video side. So when you take video, you want to hold, I'm going to show you, you want to hold your phone like this to take your video. Because I've mentioned, if you do your phones, you've seen the Karen videos, everybody's seen the Karen videos, right? Not to just make a joke, but those phones are usually held like this, which is really more natural. You really want to hold your phone and do a video like this, but when you post it, it's blacked out on each side, or it has like a double images of that video, and it's just not a quality video. So if you hold it like this, you're going to get a nicer video when you post it on social media. And then content sharing of your blogs. You have someone that's producing blogs, they're writing blogs, you might as well share those blogs, drives a little traffic to your website, and then you get some of that content shared out there. It's not just for your SEO purposes. And then if you're doing any kind of events, utilize the events button. So you can build out an actual event so people can say that they're going to go, they can be interested, that type of thing. So it's a nice option. One thing that I want to talk about are those chef recipes. Everybody loves food. Everybody loves food. That, along with the fact that most of your communities really pride themselves on chefs, right? So utilizing your chefs and some of the things that they do with videos or image is such a key. You don't have to post the whole recipe, but you can actually do a recipe in a blog and just have a click over to the blog for the rest of the recipe, right? You could do that with an image. You could do that with a video. How fun would that be? Or you can even do a video where he's taking it out of the oven. It doesn't have to be a big, long explanation. So you can make it really cool. So it's just about getting really creative in what you're sharing that authentically connects with people that are watching your social sites, or even just located on your website, right? And then connecting through sharing community life. People want to see their loved ones and how they are enjoying the life that you provide them at their communities, and even how they're connecting with your staff as well. Then I want to get into a little bit of the easing of the fear of COVID. Everybody's, talking about COVID and the protocols that they're taking, the updates, the measures that they're taking. Stop showing the picture of the big COVID. First of all, people, it's become white noise, to be honest with you. But if you're doing different COVID protocols and updates and cleanliness, show pictures of what you're doing from your community, do a video of someone, taking, if you're testing as people are coming in the door. I was talking to a community that is in northern Florida. That's just a strictly memory care community. They test everyone with a rapid test that comes in their door. They have someone there to fix the air conditioner, they get a rapid test. So if that's something that is part of your protocol, fabulous, share it. But do a video or show an image or something like that within your community that's going to be something that's going to catch somebody's eye, because that's definitely an authentic picture, or anything related to resident life post-COVID. I did share a link. All of the stuff that I've talked about is just sharing posts. I haven't gone into anything that's, you would want to necessarily boost or do an ad or anything like that. Clearly, all those things are incredibly effective. Facebook really is a great place to inexpensively sell your community. It does really, really work. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't, but that's a link that you can go and you can learn more about how that works. And Facebook will actually schedule time with you on your calendar and get on the phone with you and help you as well, if that's something that you're interested in. So I want to talk to you about connecting with video. Video is so strong and so important. People are so engaged in video. How many people do you know that just watch YouTube, watch videos. I mean, there's a video link on Facebook page that people will just watch video after video. So I want to talk a little bit about this video. So don't get ghosted. This is something completely different than what you would do on a social page. This is something that I have worked with Heart Legacy on a couple of different, we've worked with them on a couple of different things, but this is a product that we use to connect with people via email. This is a video I'll show you. It's a video app that goes in your email. It's a conversational video. It helps you stand out a little bit more versus just writing an email that people may or may not read. Or if you write something really long, like if you spend some time and do a 1-minute video, if you were to write a 1-minute email, it might be this long and they may not read it, or they'll read some of it, but not all of it. It also humanizes you. You can kind of, show your personality. You can have fun with it. Or you can be a little bit more serious, or you can even do a slight video tour within that. You can walk around with it. Actually, Heart Legacy's website has a ton of different options that you can look at on some of the different things that they can provide. And you can see the different sales mails that people have done in the past. So you can get an idea and flavor of what is offered or what you can do with sales mail. That along with the fact that one of the things that I think is really cool is there's analytics on it. So you can see if it was opened, how many times it was opened and viewed, that type of thing. So that's some really cool stuff. So I'll show you this really quick and you can kind of get a look at it.
Happy Tuesday. Is everyone ready for the rest of the week in Tampa? I know that I am. I'm getting ready to start packing and getting ready to hit the road. I am Darlene with SeniorLivingGuide.com. I'm the National Digital Sales Director and also the host of our podcast station, SeniorLivingGuide.com.
All right. Well, that was a bad place to end that video, but just so you guys can get an idea, I sent this out to everyone that was attending a trade show over in Tampa, inviting them to stop by our booth, kind of giving them an idea of what was going to be at the booth, and just letting them know that we look forward to meeting with them. So I could see how many people opened it. I think there was 69, if I'm not mistaken, 69 people that looked at this video, and then they can see my face. So if I run into them or I see them, they know who I am. So it just kind of gives, a connection before the event. But you can do this with potential residents, that kind of thing. It's a great option versus just a regular email. Let's see here. All right, so we're gonna kind of wrap this up with the option to really add amazing video to your website, to your YouTube channel. I think it's really important as we're wrapping up this particular webinar to keep in mind that there is hope in senior living. I'm so passionate about this because I feel like it's been such a rough year for everyone. To share what is going on in your communities and to let people know that visit your website, that you love your seniors, that you love your residents, and that if their loved one comes into your community, that there is going to be hope, there's going to be joy, that there just is. I can't even express it. So we're going to just watch this video and I'm going to stop talking.
My name is Haley Johnson, and I'm the Marketing Director here at Legacy House of Logan. I wanted to take a moment and thank our families and our residents for sticking with us this past year during the pandemic. We are so excited to have you back in our building, and we can't wait to see you. We feel the same way.
Not the cutest. Aww. It's a special day, Martha.
That video was a Heart Legacy video, as you all know, as I posted that down there. So that video was produced clearly before the Delta variant. But we're going to get there again. And I think we're going to be in good times. And oops, sorry. And there is joy in senior living. This is a little bit of a long one. I'll probably play most of it, but I think it's important to keep this in mind. These are the messages we want to get across to people that are visiting our website.
It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, 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 come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there just to be cognizant of everyone's time. That video is available in full length if you want to see the rest of it on Heart Legacy's website. Let's get to the web. So I want to be able to take everyone's questions. And here's all the information. This is my information, Mark with Heart Legacy's information. Then, of course, with Senior Living, Florida Senior Living Association's logos as well. So did we have some good questions in the
We
Q&A
do. We have
box?
some questions, but first I just want to say I really enjoyed that, Darlene. And I would like to see a show of hands. How many people had a smile on their face and tears in their eyes watching that video? It was awesome.
Yeah, they're really great videos. I think it's really important in our industry to keep such a positive attitude out front in front of the residents' families that we have and then future residents. I mean, I think it's just, there is joy in senior living. We need to keep that momentum going, pandemic or no pandemic.
Awesome. Okay, our first question is from Ruth. She says, do you have any statistics regarding next door and baby boomer usage?
Do I have statistics regarding what?
Next door and baby boomer usage.
I'm not understanding. I heard next door and then I can't understand the rest.
Next door and baby boomer.
I don't, but I can probably find out. Ruth, so I'm going to be sending out, you have my email. So just, I will be sending out information. So if you want to just connect with me, I can get that for you.
Amy has a good question too, and actually came to mind when you were going through and talking about photos, and it also applies to video. What are the limitations about sharing photos or video in the public? If you had to get releases, someone else made a comment in the chat during the session. Do we need to get releases ahead of time?
Yeah, so I know that typically when I don't know for sure. I mean, that you would have to ask, your particular community what that entails. But I know that when my dad went in, it was part of the form that his image could and would be used in any kind of promotions.
Okay, Amanda said our facility gets releases on admission.
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning. That's good. It's in your
Right.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I feel like there's a bunch in the chat box potentially.
Let me see. There's a lot of them that love the video too.
Yeah.
So what does it take to put one of those videos together? Do you work with Heart Legacy to
Yes, definitely
production.
contact Heart Legacy. And he's actually, he's on here, I believe. But I would definitely connect with him. Like I said, his email is right there. It's typically a combination. Well, that's all video, but he can do a combination of still and video. And they take the video and still that you do basically on your phone, I believe. And then they can create the videos from that. But I mean, that's something you would have to talk to him about.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions.
So there's no other questions in the chat box. It just seemed like there was a lot. Oh, they must have just comments.
Yeah, they're just comments. Another one, Taylor commented, it's in our contract as well about the photo consent. Colleen says, can we work with Heart Legacy to have video done? I bet Mark would say yes.
Mark would say yes. Yeah, yeah.
So contact Mark.
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely connect with Mark on some of those options. And you can go to the website and you can see that the rest of that video and some of the other ones that they offer, because some of the tours, the virtual tours that they offer, I think also on the virtual tours, just to kind of put this out here, the virtual tours that have residents that are actually connecting with each other and interacting, I think works a little bit more. I've seen so many virtual tours and even images and things like that where it's just empty rooms. And I think sometimes you might want to reconsider that. So those are just some thoughts as you put together, even if you're doing something on your own or images on your own website or on your social media channels. People want to see that it may not just be an empty room, but they want to see some interaction, life within those rooms of some of your residents.
Also, when you were talking, I wrote down 80-20. I thought that was a good tip.
A what?
The 80-20 about posting on social.
Yeah.
So it made me think we would love our members to share more with us so that we can share it and promote you and everyone happy and joyous. So feel free to share with us.
Yes, absolutely. And we say the exact same things. We want our clients to share what's happening within their communities. We're happy to share that on our social channels as well, because we want to share those stories. We want the people that are on our social media channels to see what's happening within the communities as well, especially if they're really great. I call them heartstring stories. If it's something that they can relate to, that brings them joy and happiness. Or if they're just fun stories, or if they're stories of encouragement, where a senior has done something that's like a really cool, great accomplishment. People want to feel empowered. You've got this senior that's accomplished something really cool. Share that out and then send it to me. I want to know about it. We will share it across our social channels. We want people to know. It's so important to us to elevate seniors, elevate their families, to know that, there's so much joy, there's life beyond. I'm going to age myself because I'm like going, there's, once you get to be a little bit older, you want to still feel like there's so much, positivity that can still happen around you, and other people are doing it and encourages them as well.
Contagious.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to make sure, does anybody else have any questions that they would like? And One thing I did want to mention, and I know I said this during the presentation itself, I didn't touch on Instagram. Instagram is something I know very well, but it is incredibly complex, and it is not a, it's the algorithm is a booger. It is very kind of difficult to maneuver, but if it's something that you're interested in, it can be beneficial. But I will be more than happy to jump on a call with you, chat with you about it, just connect with me. But that literally could be a whole webinar of getting in the weeds. So doesn't touch on that one.
From the chat, it looks like there's several that would like to talk with you more.
Okay. Yeah, please feel free to reach out to me and we can set something up. We may even just do like a, if there's several people, we might just do not a webinar, but maybe just get into a Zoom meeting.
Great idea.
Yeah, so that might be a good idea. Yeah. So. And just to reiterate, please look forward to receiving this in your email. Again, we'll have the links that you're looking for, contact information, and then you'll be able to share this out to anyone that you would like to share it with.
And we'll also have a certificate of attendance coming in that email, right, Darlene? And we'll be giving CE credits to the Florida nurses and nursing homes. I'm going to share.
Yes. This is the first time that we can offer this, so it's so exciting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. And I think if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to email myself. And if it's something that Sherry can help you with, I will forward that over to her. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.